quickest way to change student learning is to change the assessment system. And this is from a paper dated in 1979. It's a long time ago, and it's taken us such a long time to realize the potential of things. One of the challenges I've found is that the papers come out in the educational journals, and we read them and we get really excited, but they only translate into classroom practice 15 years at least down the line. And in the UK, they actually set up this group called the Assessment Reform Group, where they had as members high-powered academics who were actually trying to create popular, easy-to-read publications for teachers that could share these exciting and innovative ideas that were coming out and try and speed up that process. And then games in learning, triggered by formative assessment, are amongst the largest ever reported in educational interventions. All students benefit from classroom assessment. However, the students showing the largest gains are those who struggle the most. And this comes from Black and William, who are the two gurus in the assessment world. Professor Paul Black and Professor Dylan William. They're both in the UK, although Dylan William does a lot of his work now in America. And they published a couple of booklets, really, called Working Outside the Black Box, at the turn of the century, 1999-2000, and the focus for them was on assessment for learning. And I'm just going to interrupt a little moment, seeing as I'm not talking necessarily all to teachers here, but assessment for learning is assessment that is designed with the first priority being to progress learners' learning. Many times the first priority for assessment is to collect marks and report, okay? And I'm constantly frustrated by people who hear that I'm working with assessment and think marks, schedules, reports. That's not what I think of at all. So assessment for learning is also known as formative assessment or classroom assessment because it's ongoing assessment. It's not, the alternative is summative assessment or assessment of learning that happens at the end. And unfortunately, that is mostly what is happening in our classrooms. I work with lots of teachers all the time, and my favorite question always is just to ask, what is your assessment strategy? And almost without fail, they look a little confused, and then they say, well, you know, I teach a section of work, and then I give them a test, and then I collect the marks. And that is the assessment strategy happening all the time. And yet there are a myriad of choices available to the teacher for assessing their learners. It doesn't just have to be by means of a test. And actually, it should be embedded in their learning activities, in their teaching practice, and they should be processing the feedback they're getting from that all the time to be charting their teaching path through. So it improves learning, but it also, research shows, improves teaching. Classroom assessment is an educational innovation that unites efforts to improve both teaching and learning. And this is also at the turn of the, it's actually the turn of the millennium, I should be saying, isn't it? Not the turn of the century, just before 2000. And then here are my favorites again, Black and William. Helping teachers to use classroom-based assessments more effectively can contribute both to their subject matter knowledge and their pedagogy. And formative assessment can be a powerful, cost-effective tool for improving teacher effectiveness. There's so much focus at the moment in terms of teacher development on subject knowledge. And subject knowledge is vital, there's no doubt about it. But what teachers have that is something special and different is that we are experts in the learning of our subject. We're not just experts in our subject. There are many people out there that know much more about our subjects than we do. What we know is how to learn our subject. What are the pitfalls that learners fall into? What are the misconceptions? What are the challenges? And we know the different approaches for different kinds of learners to make that knowledge and understanding accessible to them. And we mustn't lose sight of that, because teachers don't just stand up and talk and leave. They actually design learning strategies in a special learning environment that they create to enable learners actually to make meaningful knowledge and understanding.